Divorcing when one spouse owns a successful business can add a layer of complexity to the process, as the business may be considered an asset that needs to be valued and divided. Whether the business was started during the marriage or owned before it, how the business is treated will depend on several factors, including the laws of your state or country, the structure of the business, and how the business was managed during the marriage. The first step is to determine whether the business is considered marital property, subject to division in the divorce, or separate property, which typically remains with the spouse who owns it, marital property. In most jurisdictions, anything acquired or created during the marriage is considered marital property, including a business that was started or expanded during the marriage, even if one spouse is the primary owner. For example, if your spouse started the business while you were married, the increase in value of the business during the marriage is typically considered marital property. Even if one spouse is the sole owner of the business on paper, the other spouse may have a claim to a portion of its value, especially if they contributed in some way, either directly or indirectly, like supporting the spouse's role as an entrepreneur, providing childcare, managing household duties, and so on. Separate property. If the business was owned by your spouse before the marriage or was inherited or gifted to them, the business itself may be considered separate property. However, if the value of the business increased during the marriage due to the efforts of both spouses or due to marital resources, such as money earned by you and used to help grow the business, then the increase in value may still be considered marital property, even if the business itself is separate property. The next step is to determine how much the business is worth. This is a crucial step because the value of the business will play a major role in property division and could also impact spousal support and child support. Business valuation experts. Typically, a forensic accountant or a business appraiser is hired to determine the fair market value of the business. The valuation will take into account factors like the business's current income and profitability, the value of assets, including equipment, inventory, and intellectual property, the liabilities or debts of the business's projected future income and growth potential, and the owner's role in the business, whether they are a sole proprietor or a shareholder in a partnership or corporation. Methods of valuation. There are several ways to value a business, including the income-based approach, which looks at the business's projected future income and profits, the market-based approach, which compares the business to similar businesses in the market to determine its value, and the asset-based approach, which examines the value of the business's tangible and intangible assets. Once the value of the business has been established, the next question is how to divide it. There are several ways this can be done. Buyout. One spouse buys the other's share of the business. In this case, your spouse may need to pay you a lump sum or installments based on the business's value, often using proceeds from assets, loans, or other financial resources. If you're entitled to a portion of the business, this is the most common solution. For example, if you're entitled to 50% of the marital share of the business, your spouse might agree to pay you the value of your share in cash or through other assets. Co-ownership. In some cases, the court may award joint ownership of the business where both spouses remain involved in the business after the divorce. This is less common, but could occur if both parties are actively involved in running the business. If this is the case, the court will likely establish an operating agreement for the business post-divorce to manage any potential conflicts and clarify responsibilities. Sale of the business. Another option is for the business to be sold, and the proceeds are divided between the spouses. This can be complicated if the business has significant assets or is difficult to sell, but it may be necessary if the spouses cannot come to an agreement on other solutions. Spousal interest. If your spouse owns the business but you are entitled to a portion of its value, the court may award you other assets, like a share of real estate, retirement accounts, or other investments, to compensate for your share of the business's value. If you played an active role in the business, like helping with administration, marketing, customer service, and so on, this could be factored into your claim for a share of the business or its value. Contributions to the business, such as working without formal compensation, whether you acted as a business manager, helped with finances, or supported the business in other ways, might be considered by the court when dividing assets. Even if you didn't directly earn income from the business, your indirect contributions could still affect your financial settlement. And if you didn't work in the business but contributed to the family in other ways, like caring for the children or managing the household, these non-financial contributions are still significant. Many courts take into account the non-economic contributions of a spouse when determining how assets are divided. If your spouse owns a successful business and you've been a stay-at-home mom, you may be entitled to spousal support, also known as alimony. The court will look at factors like your financial needs, your standard of living during the marriage, your spouse's ability to pay, and the length of the marriage. If the business is highly profitable, the court may award a higher amount of alimony to ensure you maintain a standard of living comparable to what you had during the marriage. The duration of spousal support can also depend on the length of the marriage and your ability to support yourself in the future. Since you've been out of the workforce for an extended period, you might be entitled to spousal support until you can become financially independent. There are tax considerations when dividing a business in a divorce. If the business is sold or a share is bought out, the proceeds might be subject to capital gains tax, depending on how much the business has appreciated in value since it was acquired. The tax consequences also depend on the type of business. For example, if it's a sole proprietorship, the tax implications may be different than if it's an LLC, partnership, or corporation. The structure of the business may also impact how income is divided during the divorce. Here are some additional considerations to help protect your interests during the divorce. Hiring a forensic accountant or business appraiser is essential to ensure that the business is valued fairly and that all aspects of the business, including hidden assets, debts, or income streams, are considered. Make sure that your spouse doesn't hide assets, including the value of the business, during the divorce. This could involve making sure there's full disclosure of all financial information and using experts to track down hidden assets. Be prepared for negotiation, as dividing a business is often one of the most complicated aspects of divorce. Consider what you want in terms of financial compensation, alimony, child support, and property division. If both you and your spouse are open to it, consider mediation as an option to settle disputes regarding the business and other assets. Mediation can help you avoid lengthy litigation and come to a mutually agreeable solution. Divorcing when your spouse owns a successful business involves several key steps, including determining if the business is marital or separate property, valuing the business to determine its worth with the help of an appraiser, and dividing the business through a buyout, co-ownership, or sale, depending on your situation. Determining spousal support, especially if you've been financially dependent on your spouse due to being a stay-at-home mum, and understanding the tax implications of the business division and sale are also crucial. Protect yourself by ensuring full financial disclosure and hiring experts to handle the valuation and potential hidden assets. Given the complexities involved, it's crucial to consult with an attorney who specializes in divorce and business valuation to ensure your interests are properly protected and you receive a fair settlement.